Hi, savages. How are ya? It's Daddy Jeff. I thought I'd jump on quickly just to do a shout out for our brand new sponsors. Of course, you know and love Boundless Tech. They make all these incredible products that we've been promoting on the podcast for the last few months. We've got the Boundless CF710. We've got the Boundless Terra. These are amazing vapes that I use to smoke flower or oils, distillate, chateau, whatever you like to smoke. You can do it all with their wonderful products that I've got here in front of me. Personally, I like to use the CF710 a lot because I like that shatter, that distillate, that resin, that oil. But if you prefer flower, of course, you can use the Terra. Now, if you want to get 10% off all of those amazing products, just head to Boundless Tech, that's BNDLStech.com, and use the code SAVAGE when you check out. You get 10% off all of their products. I can't recommend them highly enough. Like I said, I've been using them for a few months now. Gives you a much cleaner taste. You actually get to taste what you're smoking rather than just burn it. You have different heat options. With the Terra, you can actually decide exactly to the degree whether you want to go all the way up to 432 degrees Celsius or anywhere along that way. It's incredible what this thing does. And the same with the CF710 as well. It has various different settings for different heats that you just touch 3 times to change the heating. You can turn them off, turn them on, so they stay in your bag nice and safely, and the charge lasts a ridiculous amount of time for those. Same with our wonderful friends at Manscaped. These are our brand new sponsors. They sent me a Lawnmower 2.0, which is an incredible piece of kit designed to basically shave your balls. That's right. If you're a hirsute gentleman like myself, a little bit hairy from top to bottom, and you like to make your lady enjoy the experience when you take your clothes off rather than go, holy fucking shit, what is this Wookiee looking motherfucker going to try and do to me in the bedroom? Well, then you need to get yourself a Lawnmower 2.0 from the good people at manscaped.com. It's got this SkinSafe technology, which means that it can run across your skin on your nutsack without ever having fear of cutting. Now, I know you're going, oh, yeah, all right, Jeff, yeah, we've all heard that. We've all tried trimmers before. I have tried trimmers before, and I stopped using trimmers to use on my downstairs area because I kept nicking myself and hurting myself. This is the first piece of kit that doesn't do that. It's incredible. It's also waterproof. It lasts for an hour and a full charge. You've got plenty of time to do your balls. You could probably trim a few other areas as well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get stuck in there. Make sure you check them out. Manscaped.com is the website. And if you use my code SAVAGE at checkout, you'll get 20% off all of their items. Not only that, you get a free travel bag and also free shipping on all orders. So that's right. Check them out. Manscaped.com. 20% off using code SAVAGE. Get that Lawnmower 2.0 and some of their other products to keep your body hair in check. Trust me, you're doing your girlfriend a favor, gentlemen. And also check out Boundless Tech, BNDLS, tech.com, and use code SAVAGE to get 10% off there. All right, let's get into the podcast. Savage. What's going on, savages? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Snowflake podcast with me, Jeff Leach, your friend, your lover, your brother, your sister, your mother, your confidant, your teacher, your student, and of course the guy who'll come over and get those hard to reach back hairs when you can't pluck them yourself. Joining me today, a wonderful guest, this lady I met in the Westside Comedy Theatre. We've done a few shows there together. Actually, you're maybe the second guest, the second woman of colour that I've performed with down at Westside. I had Zara Lee on as well. I know you guys do a show together. She's a writer on the Jim Jeffries Show on Comedy Central, which is obviously a huge hit. She's also written for True TV, various other programs as well. And you can see her performing all over the US, at colleges, at live clubs, and of course, right now here on the Savage Snowflake podcast, it's Subhah Agarwal.
Yes.
I said it correctly. Did I put on a weird accent?
I like that. You
Agarwal.
put some flair on it.
Yeah,
I like
a little
that.
Agarwal. Well, I feel like as a man who understands Asia and South Asia, which, by the way, Americans, Asia does include India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. This is all part of Asia. They don't know that in America. You're aware of that, right? You're just brown here, right?
Yeah, if I say I'm Asian, it's very confusing to people.
They're like, no, you're not.
They're like Tiger Woods. Like they're just
Tiger Woods level of Asian. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I feel like I always put a little inflection because I grew up with a lot of friends who were, predominantly Indian and Pakistani, some Bangladeshi friends. Know a little bit of Gujarati,
Yeah.
I got the skills. But, yeah. But then I'm also worried that when I pronounce someone's surname and do a little Agarwal rather than Agarwal or how would you say it?
Agarwal.
Agarwal. See, you put a little Agarwal, but then you can say that because you're from a place where you can put a little inflection. I'm white as fuck. Is me doing that like being a guy in a restaurant, being like, "Excuse me, could I please get the Mexican dish burrito?" Is that like me putting on a weird accent?
A little bit.
All right. So what should I have said? I should have done it really English. Like, Agarwal, Subhah Agarwal, mate. That's who she is. And she's a fucking comic. She's from Asia. Brown as fuck. Is that better?
Oh, yeah, that nailed it. 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for coming in and saying hello. How are you?
I'm good.
What's it like working with the comedy industry's filthiest man?
Jim?
Yeah, he's a dirty boy, isn't he?
Well, I feel like not more than other people. I think he's more upfront about it. I think it's the ones that are clean up front and secretly scumbags that you gotta watch out.
See, I'm glad you said that. I think that's the problem with the industry, is that there's not enough Jim Jeffries who are like, hey, yeah, I'll outwardly say, yeah, I stuck something in my fucking ass, and yeah, I like to drink until I puke on my own balls, but I'd never hurt a woman. Is that guy, and I like those guys because they're straight up about their devilish stuff, but they're not doing anything illegal.
Right.
And then there's the guys who are pretending to be super, oh, I'm a super ally, and I'm here for you if you need it, and then they're slipping something in your fucking drink.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think either of them is like what a feminist wet dream is, but like...
Really? What's a feminist wet dream?
I don't know, just a normal dude.
A normal dude. A normal dude. That's a fair point. So you're saying like neither polar opposites in either way. Yeah, okay. But I mean, here's the thing though. What is a normal dude?
I would say, just someone who, well, Jim has a particularly large volume of demons that he's gone into in his extensive comedy specials.
Sure. I mean, we've all got those demons. It's just only
100%.
some comics, are honest and open about their personal ones.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think somewhere in between, not the guy in the beanie wearing an "I'm a feminist" t-shirt.
Yeah.
But somewhere in between, I think, is nice.
See, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but all men are a bit like that. We're like, and I'm not saying I would like to think the majority of men are decent individuals, in the same way that I'm sure you think the majority of women are wonderful people, right?
I don't know. I think people are I'm very misanthropic. I'm the wrong,
really?
like, when Thanos killed half of the world, I was like,
You were like, he's onto something.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is mass genocide. That's your outlook of a perfect future.
No. I don't know. I think most people are kind of scumbags in their own way, but we're all doing our best.
This is what I'm saying. I think it's a human condition to be a little fucked up. Like, I was talking about this with a friend yesterday, a male friend of mine. We went for a walk and we were talking about his wife, and we were talking about sex and sexual proclivities and also about kind of current social climate, I guess. But I was saying, I think it's perfectly natural for a man, any red-blooded man, this is how we think. And if any guy says he doesn't think like this, he's a fucking liar. That when you see an attractive woman, your instinctual thought in your head is, oh, I really want to fuck that person.
Yeah, that's normal.
It's normal. That's normal. But then you don't act on it, obviously, because that would be a shitty thing to do, unless you put in time and effort and there's, consent there. But I think that we all think creepy, weird shit. That's the human condition.
Yeah.
Women, maybe less so. It's less sexual creepy shit. It's more emotional creepy shit. And with men, we're very base and very Neanderthal, and it's more sexual creepy shit.
I think there's overlap, but for the majority, probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's gross generalizations. But then when it comes to comics getting on stage, so many comics pretend like they don't have those thoughts. Whereas your comedy, even on your website, it says, this is like relentless honesty. Sometimes, you even say sometimes maybe too much. Just kidding. It's funny. So tell me about that. What's that relentless honesty that you put out on stage?
Well, especially when it comes to sex, because I grew up in an environment where it was like, you don't talk about it. You don't talk about reproduction. You don't talk about sex because, like, my parents were arranged. And, like, meanwhile, they're all of the first generation.
They were arranged for you as parents? You're adopted. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Their marriage was arranged. Okay. And where are they from? Let's get some
India.
background history. From India, right? What part of India?
My mom's Rajasthani, and I think my dad is somewhere, some northern Indian. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I'd repeat Rajasthani, but I'll have to do it in English. Rajasthani, mate. Yeah? There you go. To avoid me putting on the accent again. I don't know. I think that arranged marriages is a strange and interesting concept, but one that, Might work in the modern age.
Yeah, it's not the worst concept. It's like it's evolved. It's not what people think it is. It's not like some prince and some child bride and like 3 horses. It's not. It's like your parents help you pick out a partner based on like family background. If like the families have a lot in common, similar values.
It's okay, Cupid.
Yeah.
It's just very racially specific, and also and probably religiously specific as well.
Yeah, and it's not the worst idea. And it's like, okay, you're willing to commit to each other, like your families meet, and it's like your parents, I mean, they know you. They have a good eye.
Did they ever get to meet before they...
Yeah, of course. And then normally like they meet and they'll hang out for a while and then get married.
Like, hang out how long? We're talking like for an hour, do you know what I mean? Go for an ice cream and
no,
shit?
like
We're
for
talking...
like probably a year, I would say. Maybe.
Oh, okay. So they were given a chance to form a loving relationship,
yeah.
or at least some kind of, you know, romantic connection before
Yeah, because like, at least from what my mom believes, I want to say, is like love fades. Like what she thinks Americans see at love fades. And it's like a different type of like working love is what they look for. It's like a partner. It's almost like a business to them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense, and I think there's some truth to it. I still think it's like, as a, you know, a romantic artist, I would like to think that that kind of being just swept up in someone. I know that initial passionate love.
My boyfriend,
you just moved in with your boyfriend.
Yeah, he says I'm not romantic at all. He's like, you don't have a romantic bone in your body. I think efficiency.
You're like, motherfucker, what's your earning rate each year? How are you going to provide? What kind of health insurance you got? How are we splitting this rent?
Like, I was supposed to pick him up from the airport, but I was like running late, and I was like, oh, it'll be faster if you just take a cab to me. And he was pissed I didn't show up, and I was like, who gives a fuck? And he's like, the romance. And I'm like, oh.
Romance. Nah, he just wanted a lift. He just didn't want to pay $50 to get from the airport to your house. See, how do your parents feel about your relationship? Is he an Indian guy?
No, he's white.
Oh, shit. You fucked up.
They don't care that much anymore. Not with me.
Well, they've given up
Yeah.
hope for you. They're like, she's a comic. All right, fuck it. We can start. White boyfriend. Oh, my God. All right, fuck it. On to the child number 2. How many siblings you got?
Just one.
All right, so there's a lot of pressure riding on that sibling now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's successful. He's got a PhD in electrical engineering.
Perfect Indian child.
Yeah, 100%.
And what's his, has he got a partner?
Yeah, he's going to get married in July.
To a...
Indian girl.
Yeah! Number 1!
Yeah.
What's his name?
Suppan.
Suppan. Suppan. Fucking nailing it, bruv. Keeping the family happy. Whereas Subhah...
Fucking up, yeah.
I mean, but then having great success in your career as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think things are fine now. I think there'll be problems later.
I fucking love talking to comics on this podcast because I always try and, you know, laud them for their achievements and, you know, big them up for the things they're doing amazing. And every single one of them is always just like, yeah, well, I guess right now it's, I guess, yeah, but it's good. Like, you got to enjoy the moments where you succeed in.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah. I feel like you are one of the most interesting choices because I've seen you do stand-up and your stand-up is very revealing, very direct. You don't fuck around. You know, you got some really acerbic cutting lines there, which I like. It's great wit, a very sharp wit. But also because if I had to go, all right, what kind of comic would end up writing with someone like Jim Jeffries for his TV show? My initial, maybe slightly two-dimensional outlook would be definitely not you. 100% not you. Like that's weird. That's like putting a fucking priest and a whore together, and you're the priest in that situation to create a business. Whereas that's all right. You can pick it up. Don't worry. Oh, picture of your boyfriend. He's a very handsome chap. I mean the wrong color, but he's a handsome white travesty. That's what he is. But then I also think that there's something beautiful about juxtaposition of comedy, right? Do you find that you add a level to Jim Jeffries' humor and his show that would be lacking if it was an extension of what he's already put out?
I think I'm helpful, especially when he needs to talk about like the Me Too movement. Like if that's in the news, definitely good to have a woman or two in the room. Mm-hmm. Just to be like, I mean, like you're
like a firewall. You're like a human firewall. He's like,
yeah,
right now, listen. What we're going to do is we're going to do a fucking him too thing. We're going to celebrate men. And then we're going to do a sketch where I get date raped, drugged by Bill Cosby. And you're like, this is not the route we should be going.
Well, I wouldn't say you would go full Tucker Carlson, but I think...
No. Never go full Tucker Carlson.
Never go full Tucker.
No. Go half-mast Tucker. I kind of thought about it but couldn't do anything because, you know, not a full-on scumbag. What's the writing room like at Jim Jeffries? Is it a big group of you or?
Yeah, I think there's about 8 of us now, so it's a decent amount.
Is it intimidating?
I mean, intimidating in what sense? Like
Intimidating. You're writing with, you know, you're obviously, you know, blossoming and doing very well in your career, but like myself, you know, we're still new on the circuit out here. I'm starting to, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And however, Jim Jeffries is obviously, you know, has been established for a couple of decades as, you know, a sort of headlining act, and obviously on a big show like that, as one of your biggest jobs to date. That would be quite, I imagine, a little bit like, oh, God, I got to make sure I've got to be funny every time I walk into this room.
Oh, no, I don't feel that at all. I mean, Jim is just so Jim that it kind of puts you at ease. Like, he came into the room wearing swim shorts one day.
Okay.
So it's not like, it's hard to be like, oh, shit, I got to impress Jim when Jim is just Jim. You know what I mean?
Are we talking Speedos?
No, like short.
Board shorts.
Yeah.
Cop out. That's a cop out.
But it was just hilarious because it's not like you're not like, oh shit, I gotta. I mean, obviously you want to be funny, and it's more of like a natural, organic feeling. It's not like, oh, this is my, like, I don't. When he enters in the room, my first thought isn't. I was like, oh, this is my boss. I gotta straighten up. It's like, no.
You're like, why the fuck is he wearing swim shorts to work? Yeah,
So
I don't want to
it's
see
like-
those upper thighs. I don't need to see that.
But it's like I work better in that environment. I don't work well when people are like, you have to do this, this, and this, and this, and they like try to. Like that Top Chef type mentality where they try to crack down on you.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't do well. I do well when people are nice to me, you know?
See, I think I need a Gordon Ramsay
You do.
of comedy. Yeah, I want Jim Jeffries to walk through the door. I always romantically thought he'd walk through the door, kicks the door open. He's in swim shorts, but they're Speedos. Do you know what I mean? Like one testicle is popping out the side of it. He knows that. He prepped that beforehand, but he's doing it just to test you. And he comes in and like you show him, oh, well, we've got some ideas for maybe this could be a good segment. And he flips a table and just, fuck you doing? Like that and storms around.
No, he's lovely.
And under that pressure, you work 10 times as hard for him.
There was one time we heard an ice cream truck outside, but it turned out not to be an ice cream truck, and Jim wanted ice cream, so he just bought the entire room macaroon ice cream, and it was the greatest thing ever.
Bought you what kind of ice cream?
Macaroon ice cream sandwiches.
Macaroon ice cream. But where? From somewhere else?
Yeah.
Ordered it in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got macaroon ice cream money though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does.
That's like the least. If he bought you all a car,
Be fucking awesome.
yeah, I'd be well impressed. But ice cream, come on, that's that. The least he should do is buy a round of snacks for his writers. And how much of your stuff, like, because I've never written on I've written on TV shows, but I've written for. I've been like lead writers on TV shows where like clip shows and things like that, where I'm literally just writing 700 jokes about car crashes, which makes you want to kill yourself, or makes me want to kill myself. But I've never been in a room with a team of writers. Is there like a hierarchy? Is there a well, this person's worked on a few really huge series, so they kind of have status above me for ideas, or is it very even?
I think it's pretty even. Like, we all pitch. It's like, I don't know, if you have an idea that you were really passionate about, you can push it.
Have you ever had an idea that you would have loved to have had on the show, or a segment, a skit, maybe just a one-liner, whatever it is? They were just like, we can't do it.
Well, I've had things that just like either got cut for time that were like, you know what I mean, or they decided to do a different piece that week. Like, I think there are pieces I've written with other people that still haven't been on the show, but are on like the back burner or whatever.
They're in the vault.
Yeah.
But never anything where you've written something and they've gone, Subhah, that's too much. Like, we can't.
Oh, well, for my specific voice, yeah, for sure. Probably once a day. Where it's
Oh, really?
where it's like, what is this joke?
What? Like what? Like, what was it?
Well, I don't know. I can't think of anything in specific, but yeah, I mean, I get jokes cut all the time.
I'm really glad I led us down that path then to try and draw out the comedy of
there was
your most offensive concepts.
Well, when I was writing for True TV, the writers called me uterine cancer for a couple of months because on my first day, we had to make jokes about celebrities, and I didn't know anything about this lady, so I Googled her, and she had uterine cancer, so I wrote a joke about uterine cancer.
Nice. Who was it?
Fran Drescher. And they were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know anything about her. And everyone had done all the classic nanny jokes, so I went
I didn't give
cancer.
her the cancer.
But yeah, for like a couple of months, I was called uterine cancer.
Nice. I mean, it's not the best nickname.
No.
But it's, I mean, it's memorable, right?
It is. I'm gonna get novelty license plates for my new car.
Yeah, it's quite a status. That's quite a status title to have. Uterine cancer, Subhah. Yeah. She's got this killer, man. Her cancer stuff is just fucking top notch.
But every now and then I can go a bit too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you self-moderate? And this is as a stand-up. How do you self-moderate and go, all right, I've gone way too fucking deep down this pit?
It's not. It's more of like, I'm just going to write what I think is fun. And sometimes I've written things where I'm like, that's not going to get picked. And it's just for me because I think it's funny. And then it'll get picked. Like, I think that's more of like the head writer's job to like go through the jokes and decide what he thinks works.
Sure.
So I think at your job, you have to have fun, like regardless of what you're doing or you go insane. So sometimes even if I'm like, oh, there's no way. If I think it's funny or it amuses me, I might still check it in.
Yeah.
And then like provide a couple of alts or something. But yeah, I'm still going to put in a fucked up joke if I like it.
Now, that's on the show, but in your own personal comedy,
Right.
There's a point sometimes where, I've had it, and I'm sure you have, where you write a bit, and it's funny. And then you tell it on stage, and it's so dark that people kind of almost go, they're like, I don't know if I can even laugh at this.
I'll spend like a week or two trying to find a way to soften it, and then if I still can't get it across, I might drop it.
Yeah. Have you ever just gone, fuck it, this is funny to me?
There's like one joke where sometimes it'll get that reaction.
Oh, yeah, what's the joke?
Well, I don't want to tell you. It's just about...
Why do you want to tell me?
Why am I going to tell you a joke to your face? That's weird.
Tell me a joke. I'll pretend like I'm an audience. I'll pretend like I'm an LA audience. Oh my God, I love this girl. I saw her on TV. Okay. Made me laugh. Do it.
The worst. No, it's just about...
You can tell me the premise, can't you?
Yeah, it's about like a homeless dude calling my brother a terrorist, calling him Al Qaeda, and then I'm like, if anything, we'd be ISIS, and I'm like, you should be more up to date. You're homeless. Your house is a newspaper. That's
that's a funny gag.
It's funny, but I get that it is a little bit like the target is a homeless dude, but I'm like, but he's also a racist homeless. So doesn't that
exactly. And did that actually happen?
Yes.
For the purpose of the joke, yes,
no,
it did.
Well, I didn't say your house is a newspaper to his face. I thought of that later, but yeah, I was shocked. It was in San Francisco, and my brother didn't even register to him. Like we were just walking by, and some homeless dude was like Al Qaeda, and I was like, oh God. I
mean, that was probably mental health, right? It's probably just like kind of
100%. Oh yeah, I used to volunteer at an Alzheimer's patient in-home. I don't think that shit makes you racist. I think it unleashes the racism you would have tucked away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's probably quite a lot of both well-intended, friendly, light-hearted racism between friends who are of different colors who are fighting in a war together, and then also some really hardcore hatred racism in the military.
I saw just like fucked up right when I was working at the Alzheimer's in home. Like they would just come out to me and be like, in my day you had to wait outside to watch the movie. Like they would just
that's hilariously mean but also adorable.
I know, but it wasn't even said with malice. It was just like,
back in my day, Subhah, you would have had to clean my shoes. And now you've got your own job.
It was funny. But...
Have you ever wanted to punch an old person in the face? Because, I mean, like, that's...
No, there was one really weird incident where I thought every time it's so dumb to me. I don't know that there have been a couple where it's like pissed me off, but a lot of the times it's just so dumb it's funny. Like, I was reading a book on the train, and this guy started throwing I think it was like pretzels or popcorn at me, and he goes, you can't read. Like he started yelling, you can't read at me. He's like, what are you going to do? Get a job? Maybe librarian. That's the most money you'll make. And he kept throwing pretzels at me. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I don't even know if that guy was racist. He just sounds like he was mental or hated everyone.
It was something specifically about he thought I couldn't read because I was brown, but I can't remember exactly what he said. But it was just really funny that he was upset that I was reading. I was
Clearly doesn't know the Asian race.
I know.
They're pretty good at reading. In fact, education is pretty high on the list of things that you can do, right?
That's the funniest part to me when people are trying to be racist to me, but they don't have my race right. I was all right, buddy.
Well, what have you had so far? You must get some kind of South American every now and then.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is sometimes people will either mix me up with Mexican or I think South American quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's overlap. I mean, I see that.
Brown. That's the blanket term they use for everything.
Yeah.
That always confused me because we're living in a right now in this. I'm not going to say faux woke, but I'm going to say like just the concept of being woke I don't like
Yeah.
because it suggests that you suddenly need to wake up to ideologies. Now, in my world, if you were raised correctly by your parents and you were educated and you grew up around people of different races, you don't need to wake up to anything. I'm already aware that when I walk into a store, my black friends get followed around and I don't. Like, I know that shit.
Yeah.
But, or vice versa, all my Asian friends growing up, you know, I know they get called, like, oh, Packy boy and stuff like that. I saw that day to day. But the idea of woke, I think, I'm not saying it's faux woke, but there is an element, a little bit, of America being super progressive right now. And yet, they still call, like, carpet blanket call everyone from Southeast Asia brown. And that also includes, like Mexican people and shit like that as well, to some extent. Do you know what I mean? It kind of, it's like, if you're going to be woke, learn geography, first of all. Is that fair? Like, come on, America.
I don't know. Brown never bothered me.
Really? Because you grew up here.
Yeah.
See, like in England, if an Asian person who was born and brought up in England came to America and heard they were called brown, they'd be like, "What?
Really? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they go like, well, actually, I'm Indian. I'm not just
so funny.
I'm brown. Like
People get mad if you call them Indian here, like this generation. I'd say like it's 50-50 when I'm talking to people in a crowd. Like if there's an Indian dude who has like Indian features, I'll be like, Indian, he'd be like, I'm from Iowa.
Indian, you'd be like, excuse me, I prefer privately school educated. Thank you very much. Not Indian. Yeah.
It's like, chill. Like I'm not gonna fucking quiz you on like the tenets of Hinduism. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm just asking. You know?
You're practicing Hindu?
I wouldn't say practicing.
Rehearsing. Rehearsing Hindu.
Rehearsing, yeah, we'll go with that.
Like Halloween, I'll dress up as Vishnu. I mean, like, you know, it's pretty dope. I think religion is an interesting one. Hindu is maybe slightly more aligned with, you know, at least for this audience, a lot of the American viewers, you know, a lot more like it's more aligned with the kind of tenets of Buddhism or something like that in terms of, you know, trying to find a level of what's it called, enlightenment, and, you know, the meditative qualities, having lots of different entities that represent different things. They're not necessarily one all-powerful being that overlooks everything, but yeah, I still think organized religion, man, is a little bit of a...
No, I'm agnostic, lean atheist, and I don't necessarily agree with Hinduism because it's like you're supposed to like give up all these worldly things to...
You fucking love beef burgers.
Oh God, no. I do like chicken though, but to reach like a neutral state, you know. So there's no highs, but there's also no lows. Like you're not supposed to have attachments. It's kind of that's the same similar with Buddhism. Like it's peace. You're looking for peace. But I'm like, I'll take the lows if it means having highs, like, you know. And like my mom always says that with relationships and American dating. She's like, yeah, but then you get heartbroken. I'm like, yeah, but then you get over it, pussy. Like grow up.
You learn lessons. You get wisdom from it. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there are highs when you deal with the lows, but the highs are fun. Why would you not want that? Like I'm just supposed to be chill the whole time.
Do you think they love each other?
Yeah, they do.
Is that like a love in terms of like a respect love, or do you think it's like a passion? Like, have you ever heard your mum and dad just fucking going at it?
Absolutely not.
Middle of the afternoon, you're like, oh my God, I think mum and dad are boning upstairs.
No, I think my mom thinks sex is for reproduction. I don't think she's pretty religious in that respect, if I had to guess.
Really? I feel kind of bad for your dad.
I don't know. They're raised in a different culture.
Sure, but still, like, I mean, you know, he's still just a red-blooded man.
I don't know. They seem fine.
I can see you really enjoying me talking about your parents' sex life. Yeah. Well, I'm interested because, look, my mum and dad, we'll flip it, right? I think it's good to talk about these things openly. My mum and dad had a very enjoyable beginning of their relationship, but they were wrong for each other. And they stayed together and they got through things and they had kids and they didn't really want to be together, but they stayed together because they're that old school generation. So that's another entity of being of a certain generation, a certain place where you do certain things in the same way your parents did, you know, being Indian, and that's just the way they would form a relationship. But my mum was very asexual. She doesn't care about sex. We're always very open to talk about it. But I know my dad really just wanted to get his dick sucked every now and then. No, but he did.
Yeah.
And he deserved to get his dick sucked. He should have divorced my mum, or my mum should have divorced him earlier than they did, 25 years earlier. Yeah. And she should have gone off and found an amazing man who just wants to go to the theatre with her. Basically, she needed a gay best friend. That's what she wanted. Someone to go to the theatre with every weekend.
Yeah.
Who would eat lovely food with her and talk about opera and film and theatre and literature and just be around her and cuddle her. She would have loved that, and she deserved that. And my dad deserved to get his dick wet. Like, you know what I mean? They needed it. Do you ever see like a sad sparkle in your dad's eye where you're like, oh, he really needs a little bit of, sweet fucking.
Ugh, gross. No.
Is it? Come on, they're people.
Barely. No, I don't know. My dad was like very mysterious. Like he never really talked about. He very rarely talked about anything very serious.
Very mysterious, you say. Oh, all right. So he could be going to a massage place or something. No?
I don't think so. I think the culture is pretty intense.
But come on, like again, like this is and again, this is not like indicative of all young Indian men, but they're a very sexualized group of people. Because it's almost repressed slightly. There's a lot of, there's a lot of sexual assault in a lot of Southeast Asian countries.
More to do with women rising to power.
Sure.
And just how quickly that demographic shift is happening. So that's why you see such a high volume, especially in the cities now, where it's like, guys feel powerless and they're not ready to accept women having equal power. So that's one way to put that gender in their place.
Put their power over them is to assault them,
And that's coupled with a system that hasn't really been taking care of women or policing that properly. So things are getting better. So there's definitely reasons. Because that assault is always more about power than it is about sex. So
sure.
That's, I think, not an expert, but that's what I think that's been going on there. But yeah, no, I mean, it's like Catholics too. Anytime you repress sex, it's going to get weird and stronger, It's
I think you should buy your mum and dad like a nice night out for Valentine's Day.
I think they're fine.
Book them a little honeymoon suite. Come on, you got Jim Jeffries money now.
They can book their own shit. It's
not about them doing it. They'll never do it, Subhah.
They go on vacation a lot.
Come on. You got to book them the honeymoon suite at a Sandals resort somewhere. You got to phone the concierge and be like, listen, I want to pay for a nice bottle of champagne. Or do they drink? They don't drink.
My dad drinks. My mom doesn't.
Okay, nice bottle of something for dads. Get some beautiful juices, fresh juices on the side. It could be a bottle of champagne and ice in a bucket of ice and some nice fresh juices, some grapefruit juice and shit like that. Cranberries freshly squeezed in the fucking ice thing. And then just like some condoms and some lube. Maybe a toy. Maybe a toy for mum. Mum deserves a toy. And that's it. Boom. And just let them see what happens.
I think that's the fastest way to get disowned is for me to do that to my mom.
Wow. That's so interesting that you've come from, because I'm pushing on this a little bit because I think who our parents are shapes us so hugely. It's such a massive impact on who we are. And it's clear that obviously your parents, as you said, had quite a stoic, serious, maybe upbringing and kind of expectations of how relationships are formed and how they exist, etc. But then you're incredibly Western in your outlook, and whilst you obviously have the cultural adept nature of being an Indian girl who has those experiences and that culture as part of her identity, you're very Western acting. Becoming a stand-up comedian is literally the furthest from a stoic Indian family's 100%. Wet dream of what your job would be. Going and becoming a stand-up, talking about your personal life, revealing things, making these kind of very caustic, edgy witticisms about the world and about yourself and about life.
Oh, they absolutely hate it. They would even say, they're like, look, other Indian kids do the stuff you do, but why do you have to say it? That would be my mom would say that shit, because she knew other Indian girls were going around dating, having sex.
Well, that's about shame, though, isn't it? That's about the shame of worrying other people are going to see you saying these things and go, oh, well, Subhah's not a good girl. Have you seen her on TV? She was talking about sex publicly.
That's literally what it is. Yeah. And to me, that's so stupid. It's like, if you're embarrassed and you're lying about who you are, you're causing damage, you're causing shame of things that are natural and not hurting anyone. Yeah. So that's why I've always been super vocal about everything fucked up I've been doing or that I have done, because it's I know what it's like to sit there and have to hold a double identity and feel like your own family, your own community won't love you for who you are as a whole person.
Sure.
And that's not a good feeling. And
It's not a nice feeling. I have similar elements for similar, like, again, not necessarily like my whole family judging me, although actually my English side of my family don't get on with me at all. They don't most of them don't like me anymore. That was about Brexit. I got quite upset when they all voted a particular way, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Not the liberal way.
Yeah.
And I also, but I also think there's an element of, there must have been a breaking moment where you went, I'm not going to live by the prescribed route that is expected of me.
Well, I was always that way since I was, you know how some people just have certain personalities, like you can see it in them from when they were a kid.
Yeah.
I was always kind of an antagonist.
You had a Nirvana hoodie.
No, it's just like if they told me to do one thing, I was off doing the other. Like I was kind of a nightmare as a kid, and I always kind of had that spirit in me for whatever reason.
You will have sex with an Indian boy. Bang, white boyfriend. Done.
I tried to date Indian guys for a while. It's just, there's a lot fewer of us and a lot fewer of them who are willing to date a non-traditional
Could have fucked like
Indian
Neil
girl.
Nanda or something, right? Because he's a comic. He's a comic though, but he's still, he's still Asian. He's still like,
I would never do that to poor Neil.
No, to poor Neil. I'm sure Neil would, I imagine, would jump through hoops to go on a date with you. But what I'm saying is, like, then it could have ticked all the boxes, right? You got a progressive Western outlook man in your life, but
it's like it's very
Southeast Asian,
rare
ticks the
to
boxes.
find that type of guy, and it's like I'm never somebody who's put a lot of time into my personal life.
San Francisco, tech industry.
Yeah, that was funny. That was one of my brother's friends, like his female friends, was like, "You gotta move here. There's so many guys here," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good. Like, no, thank you.
Every guy in San Francisco is a multi-millionaire tech industry startup business owner, and they all have smoking hot Asian girlfriends, predominantly Japanese, Chinese, Korean.
Yeah.
But sexy brown girls get good looking as well. If I ever wanted to get myself, actually I'm dating a girl who's a woman of color, but if I was, trying to hook up with a super smoking Asian girl, I'd go to San Francisco and just start an app. It'd be called Help My Asian Parents Get Laid.com app. And basically what it is it matches, like-minded Asian couples who are maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s to like meet, and there's a bowl and everyone puts the keys in the bowl. And then at the end of the night, they judge each other's cars. And whoever thinks they're worthy of fucking, then they bone in the back of the car. It's like a dogging site, basically. But a little bit more organized, I'm looking for an investment. 30,000. If you got the startup capital, we can make this a reality.
Let's go to San Francisco. Let's do this,
You fucking hate everything I'm saying.
Oh,
right
100%.
now, so you're just like... No, you know what it is that because I'm trying to talk to you like I'm trying to crack fucking wise with you as the comic that I know you are. Yeah. But it's interesting that because now that I've gone down the route of talking about your family and your parents, I can feel you just being like, they might watch this.
I try to be a little respectful to them because they're so like private and serious. You know what I mean? So like I do my best.
We're not giving their social security numbers or address.
I know, but I like to be respectful of them. I'm like I can at least throw them that bone,
I mean, listen, Subhah's mum, you need to let your husband throw you a bone. That's what I'm saying.
Look, I don't know what they do, so
they could. Wait, now this is another thing that I've heard, and this is could just be internet. Oh shit, they're here. I gotta go. It could be. That's pretty close. Well, hang on a sec. Talking about that, you had a SWAT team outside your building the other day.
did.
We were meant to record this yesterday.
Yeah.
And you phoned me up in the afternoon, sounding a little shaken. I was a little worried about you because you were like, there's SWAT outside my building, and they said there's a man with a gun.
Yeah.
And I was like, stay inside. Don't leave. Please don't come over here to do a podcast. That would be... I mean, if you had come and done the podcast episode and then gone home and got shot, that would be great for numbers, great for viewing figures. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't have wished that on you, but it could have been a blessing.
Her last words were, maybe my parents do fuck. That was where my last words. Well, you know what would have happened Put that on my tombstone.
We would have played segments of this at your funeral, and your parents would have watched it and gone... To honest, Subhah, we're going to have the most romantic weekend ever. And then they just like fucking go ham. The positions they would have done in your honor.
Oh, God.
They would have made a new baby.
This is such a nice setup. Why do you want me to vomit all over it? I don't.
Well, here's the deal. What I was going to say is that you had this SWAT team outside. Was there any kind of Anything happened with that? Did you?
I don't think they found the guy. Eventually, like, they ran dogs through our building. Like, I didn't go out to look at it. My boyfriend went out to look at it. I don't want to be around anywhere where there might be a gun. I listened to too many, like, murder podcasts, so I'm already a jumpy person.
Right.
Like, my boyfriend,
You don't seem remotely relaxed, I got to say, today.
I'm very like nervous and always on edge. So like it'll just be me and my boyfriend in the apartment, and he'll put his hand on my shoulder, and I'll be like, and I'll like grab it. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I'm like a shelter dog. Like I'm constantly on edge.
White man, the white oppressor. Let's be honest. Every time he puts his hand on your shoulder, you're like, "Is this a declaration of love, or is he about to hit me?"
Is he colonizing my heart?
Colonizing, your heart. Sure, that's what he's colonizing. Surely, isn't colonization the injection of your own self into people who don't necessarily want it there? Don't know if you can do that to someone's heart, can you? Yeah, you can actually.
You could.
Yeah, I've had people inject themselves into my heart, and then I didn't want them there, and then I realized why later when they tore it out as they left.
Colonizers.
Colonization. Yeah, that's what relationships are. They're just miniature colonizations. Colonial love. Oh wow, yeah. All right, that's another thought.
I'm super jumpy, and like I was just screaming, like I walked down the hallway and I turned the corner. It was just some poor guy in the staircase, and I just went, "Jesus Christ!" right in his face. Like I was just yelling at people, and I felt so bad, especially if it happened to be a person of color. I'm like, I swear to God, this isn't what you think it is. I'm crazy. I do this to my boyfriend. You know what I mean?
So you're like a dog. You like bark at black people
and white people, but the black people don't know that. You know what I mean? It's like every people. You could be a tiny woman, and I would scream at you. I am so scared.
Why are you so jumpy?
I've just always been I think it does come from having like immigrant parents that like will hit you if you fuck up, where it's like if I heard my mom yell, I knew I was in trouble. So like since I was a kid, I think there is some OCD type tendencies in my family.
Okay.
So, like, loud noises would freak me out. Like, it wouldn't even be... My mom wasn't abusive or violent or crazy, but it's like, I would hear that loud noise and know I was in trouble, so I would jump. And then when I went to school, kids realized that about me. And as soon as they realized that I had this little tick, a million times worse. Like, kids would hide around the corner and jump out. Yeah, and scream my name and shit. So it became this ingrained tick. And, like, it used to be really bad. It used to be to the point where I was, like, a fainting goat. Like, I would get so scared I would fall over. So, that was, like, hell on earth.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
If you need help, just blink twice. If someone who's hurting you, can you just blink twice if you need... Oh, it was just one. Oh, no, there's the second one. Jesus Christ. Right.
And I do technically have a little PTSD. I think, like, a therapist was like, I think you have PTSD. And I was like, maybe.
Do you mind saying from what?
Oh, yeah, nothing happened. But, like, a guy followed me into my building, and I had to fight him. And so, like, it fucked.
By the way, that's something happening.
But, like, he didn't get anything. I fought enough for him to leave. And he didn't hit me. It was more like he was trying to push me onto the ground, and I was, like, pushing him off and, like, trying to fight
So he was trying to sexually assault you?
I'm assuming. I don't think he just wanted to cuddle. But, like, that'd be awkward.
A string.
Hug me.
A string of violent cuddling has been seen in the Los Angeles area. Yeah.
No, this was in New York. This wasn't Astoria. But it...
yeah, no one hugs in New York.
But it did fuck me up a little bit. Like, I couldn't play video games where, like, you had to walk down dark alleys. Like, my brain... Like, that was the weirdest shit. Like, even as a character, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, being physically assaulted by anyone is going to scare the shit out of you. And it's
he punched me. It was fine. But, like...
No, but he physically assaulted you.
Yeah.
Like, grabbing a woman you don't know and trying to push her to the ground is physically assaulting someone.
I did get a solid joke out of it, though.
Did you scratch his fucking eyes out, I hope?
No, I wasn't trained in fighting. I've taken a little bit, not great, but I've taken a little bit now. It was like, in my head, it was like I was just trying to push him away, and I didn't want to hit him or scratch him because I was scared it was going to make him angry, and then he would hit me, which isn't the smartest way to go about that. Now, it would have been a palm straight up to the nose into your head.
Yeah. Or actually, just if you can, just kick him in a fucking bollocks.
See, that's what my joke is about. I think he was too heavy set for me to be able to hit.
What, the gut? His gut was hanging over his penis.
I think that's what happened, because it was either that or he was super fucked up. So I don't know if he was just so high he couldn't feel it. Bruh, that was the scariest thing. To kick a dude in the dick and have him yawn. I was like...
You kicked him in the dick?
What I think was his dick.
Do you know where the dick is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking.
I was like, that's where it should be. This should not be the response. He fucking yawned. I was like, oh, I'm fucked. You know?
He was bored by it?
I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, that old trick. They always try that one. Little
was
do you know I'm wearing a cup.
Shocking. It was like, I do think he was on some serious, like, drugs or booze or whatever the fuck.
And he was a big dude, fat dude.
He was big, yeah.
Yeah. You could say fat. It's all right.
Yeah.
He was fat, was he?
Yes, he was.
And to the level where his gut was hanging over his penis like some kind of protective shell.
I think so. He wasn't like super overweight though, so I don't know if it was that. I think it may
Like
have
a
been
rapey tortoise, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But it was that fucked me up. It made me like I was already super jumpy from being
Did he get
bullied
arrested?
in my childhood. No, they never found him.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Also, fucking not for nothing, but New York cops.
If it makes
did
you
not
feel
give a
better, every
shit.
time I see like a creepy looking fat dude out now, I'm just going to go out and punch him in the face. Just, hey, how do you feel about attractive brown girls? Yeah, I love them. One straight to the fucking nuts.
No, they didn't find him. But it was so that made me extra jumpy on top of already having
course,
been a
that'd be
jumpy
terrifying.
person. And I don't know, my therapist was like, I think you have PTSD, and then like they didn't accept my insurance or they lost the paperwork, and then I got bored and I never went back. So I don't know if I do or don't.
American healthcare, ladies and gentlemen, looking after women who've been, assaulted by strangers in their own fucking apartment buildings, one step at a time. That's crazy, isn't it?
But yeah, no. So I think like that contributes to why I'm so jumpy. And I don't know if it was because of that, but closely to that, I became obsessed with true crime. And so it's like all day I listen to like murder.
You went down the rabbit hole,
I know.
didn't you?
Yeah, I just constantly listen to murder. So I'll get out of my car after having just listened to some like, or watch the Ted Bundy documentaries were about him like luring some woman into his van. And then my poor neighbor is coming down the staircase. And I'm like, holy shit.
Your handsome neighbor who looks like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy. I didn't even know how handsome he was.
You think he's handsome?
Yeah, I seen the photos. You know,
God.
I only knew about it because there were these people going, "Oh, Zac Efron is too attractive to play Ted Bundy," and blah blah blah.
He is.
No, they look very similar. Have you seen the photos
no, you're
side by side?
Out of your mind. There is some.
I'm not out of my mind. I'm going to bring up the photos right now. I will fight you, Subhah. Well, I mean, I won't. I'm going to follow you into your apartment building and fight you. I'm not going to do that. I regret saying that. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be the reason your PTSD gets way worse.
That's hilarious.
Zac Efron looks really good as Ted Bundy.
There were some photos where Ted Bundy did look good looking, but then there were other ones where it was like,
and he was meant to be quite charming as well.
There was somewhere
Look at that one. Look at that one.
That's the only good one.
Nah, not true. This
No.
is not even an image that I'd seen before. There was way more side by sides, and he looks really good as Ted Bundy. Like when he's in the bow tie.
Dude, if you watch the documentary, you'll see some photos where he looks like the
Like,
general
look at him.
manager.
He doesn't look like he's not far off. He's not
terribly.
I'm not saying Ted Bundy. I'm not saying I'd right swipe. I'm just saying that he's an LA6 at least.
I don't think he aged well either.
No, but look at him. Look, he's not. He's an LA6, mate. Ted Bundy's an LA6, maybe even a 7.
Oh no, you're crazy. Hold on. Let me find. There's like one photo.
No, look his arrest photo. Look how fucking. Come on.
That's the only.
I'd do the cavity search on that guy. Nah, look, I'm keep finding more and more photos.
Look at this.
But he's not like bear in mind this is the 70s as well. You know, you take the hair, like update the hair, blah 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 blah. You know, he's Ted Bundy was an attractive dude.
He was medium. He was medium. He's attractive for a monster. You'd be like, oh man, that monster.
Let me
has
show
good
this to the
cheekbones.
camera, so hopefully people can see it a little bit clearer. Let me show at least what I'm showing there. So if you're watching the video episode, you should be able to see it. Can you see that? Can you see how? No, because it's too bright. It's too fucking bright. They look pretty. Oh, there you go. There you go. You can see it now. They look pretty similar. They look pretty good.
He looks like if I walked into a bowling alley and asked for the manager, that's the dude that would come out. Like,
yeah, but he was like the manager who used to get like mad pussy when he was younger.
Like, no.
Yeah. 100%.
The only.
Hey, these shoes are on the house, babe. Ooh, what's in your van?
Maybe if
you in pieces. And then, the rest we know. I always thought I've definitely had sex with some women who are fucking sociopaths. 100%.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh man, who was I thinking of? Candace Owens. That
I thought you were just like about to out one of my
No.
ex-lovers. And just
Oh,
be,
hilarious.
that bitch, she's fucking crazy. I was gonna go, all right. Yeah, let's talk about my crazy exes.
I think there's only one.
Who's Alice Owens?
Candace Owens. She's like this right-wing commentator, but you can just tell by the stuff she's puppeting, like it's only about power and charm, and there's like no core human inside of her, and it's just terrifying. I'm like, that's a shark.
Candace Owens. She's a comic, is she?
No. She's just a commentator.
Oh, wait, this is the super... She used to be an actress. Mm-hmm. Was this the girl who... No, wait. Is this the girl who was on Mean Girls?
No. That's Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash is a bit like this chick, though.
Yeah.
Super smoking hot woman of color, but then just her
Absolutely.
politics are so fucking
Yeah.
retarded. It's
Yeah.
But yeah, Candace Owens, yeah. So what? She's a right-wing commentator as well, is she?
I just feel like she is a sociopath. Like, there's so many of them that are like puppeting this.
I know
hate speech,
exactly what
you know?
all of my black comedian friends would call her.
What?
And it begins with C and it ends with N.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what she is. She hates her own people.
But I don't
she
know
loves
that
Trump.
she even. I don't know that she believes it. I think she's just looking for a power grab.
She's pro Trump. If you wear a MAGA hat and you're a woman of color, then you're either doing it to get 500,000 followers on your Instagram
I think that's
account
what it
because
is.
There's plenty of guys go, yeah, this black chick knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Make America great again. Get rid of all them brown people. Except this one, she's okay. You know, or she's damaged. Mm. She could have been like, you know what? I think there's also, we forget. Don't get me wrong. Someone like Anne Coulter and I.
That's a sociopath.
I went on a date with Anne Coulter.
But that's the thing is she's charming. I've seen her
Crazy
in person.
charming. She's friends with Sherrod Small.
But that's what a
who's one of my friends back
sociopath
in New
would
York,
do.
right? And Sherrod's a very successful comedian back in New York, and he's friends with her. And I met her through him, and she was very charming, very funny, very engaging. And I was like, all right, she's old, but she's like an older chick who, whatever. If she wants to have a night where, I fuck her over the balcony of a building, why not? Fuck it. I was new to New York. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Then I hung out with her one night, ended up getting drunk, fingering in the back of a New York taxi cab. And then I thought, I should find out, what's this woman
And
about?
something bit your finger. What?
Yeah, a vagina chopped off the tip of my finger. And then I looked her up online. I was like, oh God, I fingered the devil. And I don't think
The devil.
And here's the deal: is that it was such a confusing process because she's such a charming woman.
But that's how those sociopaths are. It's like they're super charming. They have great interpersonal skills, but then there's just nothing. There's just nothing.
They have no empathy for
No empathy,
other
yeah.
humans. But wow,
right?
yeah.
Because I
should have known because actually when I started to touch her in the back of the cab, she did start speaking in tongues.
a portal did.
And I was like, and it was weird, and there was like an aura.
And the portal opened. You're like, wow, New York taxis are weird. Right?
Yeah, we got home really quick. Actually, it was like instantaneous. All right, yeah, it's all becoming clear now. And she's like that probably, Candace Owens.
Mm.
Stacey Dash, that one. I mean, that's such a travesty because she's got to be one of the single most attractive women on this planet, and yet abhorrent ideologies about the world, and especially for herself. But also, who the fuck am I to say what Stacey Dash should believe in? Good for her. Crack on. Does she affect my life in any way, shape, or form? No, unless I let her. Does that make sense?
I just think that's sad. Like,
Yeah, super sad. Super sad. But what if you one day, if you decided that you imagine, look, Trump's out of power, and down the line, I mean, I'm infinitely more tired with democratic politics than I have been in my entire life. And I still consider myself left of the center, but I'm infinitely more centrist than I was. Now, because I'm just seeing lunatics everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to associate with the far right wing, of course, because they're fucking nut jobs. But I also think far left are a bunch of nut jobs now as well. And it's kind of it's like, all right, well, maybe in the future, you never know. Imagine, look, Trump's out of power, new leader of the Republican Party. Imagine the Democratic Party go so overt PC left and are trying to be super woke, but to the point where they are detrimental to the progressive nature of society. And someone comes into power in the right wing and the Republican side of things that's a little bit more balanced. You never know. One day you might end up voting that way.
Yeah, party switch. I mean, I'm not really worried about what party it is so much as I am what beliefs I have.
It's her day-to-day morals and ethics.
Yeah.
And Stacey and Candace not really rocking the best morals and ethics. Yeah. But super hot, though. You know, there seems to be a theme with that, because there's that chick, that Tommy Lauren chick, right?
Yeah.
Is a fucking moron. She's a moron. And it's all sensationalism. She's doing it for... Yeah, she's absolutely doing it for likes and sensation. Like Alex Jones, you know, it's that kind of thing. But again, she's very attractive. Physically attractive.
Yeah.
Not as a person. And then again, wait, and then what about that chick from the NRA?
Did you also
Who's
finger
the
her
NRA?
in the back?
No, but because I had prior knowledge of what kind of a person she is. So I would never
forgetting.
do that.
I know who you're talking about from the NRA, but I'm
There's
forgetting
that
her name.
with a brunette who's again super smoking, but like such a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
God, maybe we need to send them to the farm. We need to get them on Dr. Phil. Send them all off to the farm to just become a little bit better as people. I don't know. I've started to like be a bit careful about my politics and humor. I've been doing lots of shows in Vegas, right? And it's a very red state. And I still want to make jokes that highlight the ludicrous nature of this fucking moron who's running the country right now. And I do. But I have to do it in a way that is not... in a way that doesn't shit on a Republican person's stance as just being allowed to vote right wing.
Yeah.
I go, you can vote right wing, and that doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you're a racist or homophobe or you know. The problem is that right now, obviously, the person who represents the highest form of power within that party is all of those things. So that's kind of...
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting harder and harder for me to have sympathy for those people. It's like, grow the fuck up. You know
Do you
what
have
I mean?
sympathy for far left, though?
Well, it depends on what part you mean of the far left. Like, if you mean like
Antifa. Let's talk about Antifa.
I mean, I don't have, because Antifa's kind of bigged up as this giant presence, but I've been to protests. I only ever see like a few of them. Like, they don't really seem to be as much of a thing as the media makes them out to be.
You've been to Antifa protests?
No, not Antifa protests, but like they'll show up at like Black Lives Matter or like something like that. Like that's, and they'll be like, look at Antifa, and it's like 4 people. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't know.
Well, there's so many differing views of different situations depending on which news, and I use that term very loosely because none of it's real on either side of the fence anymore. No, I mean, like I in Vegas, I had to watch Fox News every day in the lunchroom because that was all that was on in the
Fox is
employees.
a joke.
Yeah, it is a joke, but then so CNN. You know, there's a huge amount of CNN that I'm just like, this is sensationalized to one side.
Yeah, sensational, but there's still a degree, I feel like, of journalistic integrity.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's all self-serving to wherever their funding comes from. Whatever their funding comes from, whatever political alignments the owners of those stations have.
I still think
is
CNN
massively...
is definitely better than Fox News.
Well, I don't know. I think they're both pretty bad. Fox is a comical. It's comical how cheesy it is and how our glorious leader. It's really like North Korean TV.
And they've like aired
CNN,
conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
They choose their pundits, though, CNN. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but CNN choose their pundits based on, you know, the agenda they want to promote. I just feel like we need to find our news source on a more one-to-one human basis. Does that make sense? So, if you're a racist right-wing Republican, you rather than watching the news, you should go, I think this is what black people are like. Why don't I go meet some black people? Do you know what I'm saying? Honestly.
Yeah.
And the same with left wing. I made a decision to go, I'm not going to block right-wing voices. I'm going to listen to them and see what they're saying and see where I can find empathy with them and connections.
Well, it's not like I don't look at them like they're human beings or they're bad people, but it's like I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't think you're a fucking idiot. Like when there's a giant wealth gap and like you're arguing against, and I think most of them are like starting to realize that that there is no true constituency behind some of the right-wing Republican policies of trickle-down economics, tax cuts on billionaires. But when they talk about like socialized program, like we don't support socialism. I'm like, your sidewalks, the fire department. You love the fire department. You love firefighters. That's socialism.
Yeah.
Grow the fuck up. Like that annoys the shit out of me because
that's the lack of
education,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not like I hate them, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, your left side, right side, your views. I'm like, no, what you think is stupid. And I'm sorry. Like, I don't have patience for it anymore.
No, but that's the bit I'm going to catch you on because this is where I think we have to go. We have to, if I can't in my heart of hearts say that I'm a left wing guy who would like the world to be more progressive and equal. across the
I'm
board,
not, like, gonna
unless
say-
I'm willing to pass on my own personal wisdom, knowledge, experiences, and educate people.
Yeah,
I can't
no,
just go, I
I
got no
think-
fucking patience for you idiots anymore. Because if as soon as you do that, that's when people go, well then fuck you, liberal brown girl, I'm going to become more and more right wing, or vice versa.
But the
Fuck you,
thing
right
is,
wing, I'm going to become more and more.
I don't give a shit. It's like, I'm just
Oh, okay.
tired of it having to be my responsibility. Like, every time I walk into a room and I'm the only woman there, like, this would happen several times. I'd be like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I'm just trying to fucking live I don't always have the energy to sit here and argue with people, and it's not my fucking
I'm
responsibility.
busy enough writing jokes about this shit.
And it's like, I'll share
For
my
an Australian
viewpoint.
alcoholic, I can't also,
But the thing is, like, I'll share my viewpoint. I'll talk to people. Like, I do. That's part of what I do on stage. But it's like, if somebody wants to come up to me after a show and be like, well, I disagree, I'm not necessarily going to sit down and talk to you. Like, there are people who have the patience for, there was like that documentary about that black man that would befriend Klans members and slowly eat dinner with them and turn them over time. It's like, I'm not that motherfucker. Like, I don't have patience for that. I've never had patience for that. It's like, do I think it's worth talking to you and debating you? And like, yeah, at some point, but
also,
it's also
would
like,
you cook for like a Ku Klux Klan member? Because their palate, I mean, let's be honest, they're not going to
really.
season their food, are they? So it's going to be like
Cheetos?
Cheetos. Is that all the KKK?
7-Eleven
That's going to be.
hot
That's
dogs.
going to. I feel like that's a bad sponsorship, right there. You know what? I got to do a read. I didn't do it halfway through the podcast, and we're almost at the end. So I might just like I'll segment this in.
Yeah.
This is the part of the podcast where I'm going to segment the reading. Hey, Subhah, you know what? How do you maintain your personal appearance?
Yeah.
You look very well put together. Your hair looks wonderful. You know, your skin is glowing. Not a blemish. I feel very envious. I get little blemishes sometimes. I don't have the best skin. But, you know, you like your men groomed as well, right? And looked after. I saw your boyfriend, a very handsome man. Looked like he had a wonderful, nice beard as well. Nice little bit of facial hair. Does he take care of the downstairs hair? He does. It's funny you should say that, because me too. I like to manscape up, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, we've got a brand new sponsor on the podcast. I mentioned them at the beginning of the podcast, manscaped.com, and now looking after this podcast. And they sent me some kit. They sent me this. It's called the Lawnmower 2.0. It's a great name. They're a funny company that seem to embrace the necessity of their products, but also the lunacy of what it is, right? We're 21st century now. Men have to look good. We got to feel good. I'm a hairy dude. I'm a big, hirsute individual. I'm 6'4". I'm covered head to toe. I'm not going to lie to you, Subhah. If I didn't take care of my business, I don't even know if I could braid my ass hair by now. I probably could. Fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you can get some amazing products, manscaped.com. And you can check out the Lawnmower too. I've been using it. It's got this like no-nick technology. It's called SkinSafe Technology. And it stops you from nicking your testicles. I know, Subhah, that's
a big problem for me.
That's a common issue for you.
Yeah.
I remember you texting me maybe a month ago and just being like, oh, shit, it's happened again. And we had to rush you to A&E to sew up your testicle sack because you had tried to, you know, show a little sugar to daddy on his birthday. And unfortunately, you went a little bit too deep with the blade. That will never happen with manscaped.com products. This just doesn't happen. The Lawnmower has this skin-safe technology. You can run it right across that soft skin. Trust me. And I'm a man who used to like use razors, multi-blade razors, and it would take me hours to do. This thing has got an hour battery life, full charge, so you can do every part of your body in one sitting. Boom, boom, boom. Do it in the bathroom, by the way. Do it in the bath. Do all the shaving in the bath. Then you collect the hair together, put it down the toilet, flush it. That way you won't get a blocked plug.
I
Don't
prefer
do this
the
thing.
post office. That's where I do most of my...
You do it in the post office,
Yeah.
just directly. Just get down there. Why not spread the word of manscaped.com to the people directly? And here's the best part. It's 100% waterproof, shock resistant, lasts for an hour on a full charge. You're never going to snag your nuts. Your testicles are going to thank you. You're going to hear them halfway through the trimming experience. Thanks, Jeff. You'll be like, whoa, did my testicles just become sentient because of this product? But I jest, and I'm also deadly serious. I think if you're a man, you want to maintain yourself, and you want to potentially land yourself a woman as intelligent, as funny as Subhah, then you're going to have to take care of your downstairs business, like I do, and like a wonderful boyfriend does. You get 20% off as well if you go to manscaped.com and use the code LEACH. That's LEACH, or maybe it's going to be the code SAVAGE. Try both codes. No, because we were going to change the code.
Yeah.
Leach or Savage. Check it out. Pop it in the website. You'll get 20% off all of their products. Check it out. Let me know. Don't send me photos. I don't want to see... Well, actually, don't send me photos of your testicles shaved, but you can DM me photos of amusingly shaved pubic hair. I'll look at that. Maybe I'll rate and review them next time on the podcast. Check them out, manscaped.com. Use that code, Savage or Leach, for 20% off all of their products. All right, there you go. I'm glad we got that out.
Yeah.
Manscaping, it's an important thing for men to do.
It is. And I just wanted to clarify. I'm not saying that those people don't deserve to be educated or like talk to. I just feel like sometimes when you're part of
I just talked about my nuts being shaved for 5 minutes, and you're like, let me just clarify, okay?
I just felt bad. I felt bad. It's just sometimes when you're specifically of a certain group, people just automatically expect you to be that ambassador for that viewpoint, and they want to talk to you about it. And I haven't always had the mental strength to sit there and argue with people, and it can be really tiring. I do think it's important, and I do think there are people who are better equipped for it. I don't have good personal skills.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be patient and friendly. Like, I might accidentally say some shit. So it's like, I don't think I'm the one for that job. I think that's an important job. I don't think I'm that bitch. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think, here's the deal. I get what you're saying. You don't have to. It's not your responsibility to do that. However, as professional orators, which we really are, who are sharing our thoughts on the world, I find that we open up the door just by sharing our lives, sharing our thoughts in a very public manner and a professional manner.
Oh, yeah.
We invite people to want to debate and talk with us. Arguing is never going to solve anything. As soon as it turns into an argument, it's best just to go, hey, listen, we should probably stop it now while we're still civil. Mm-hmm. But yeah, having a conversation, I think, is important. You know, I think it really is important.
If somebody wants to talk, but the problem is, like, it's very rarely that someone comes up to you to have a conversation.
Sure, they come up to go, here's why I disagree with you, and you're wrong, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't have a lot of energy for that. Like, online or in person, it's like, I can't, you know?
I understand what you're saying. Do you think there's ever going to be a point where we're all going to just find something new to fight about? Maybe eventually we'll all interbreed so much. You're already doing the God's work. Me too, actually. I mean, we're both like, me and your boyfriend, I don't want to say it's us doing it. It's probably the ladies of color who are leading that charge, right? You've selected us. Otherwise, I can't possibly claim that white straight men doing it once again for you guys. You're welcome. You're welcome, world. Just out there having sex with beautiful women of color to ensure that in future we're all the same color. When we're all a light brown color, like coffee brown color, and we're all kind of the same race, the new thing it'll just be money. That's all we really argue about. Yeah. England's all about class. It's not about race as much. Yeah. There's racism in England, don't get me wrong. I'm not denying that. But I think we're infinitely more multicultural and happy with our racial differences and accepting of them than the majority of America is. Although Brexit maybe would suggest otherwise. Maybe actually the BNP and all the other different, UKIP and all these other different very right wing. Oh, actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just. You know what? Actually, this is the thing I want to very quickly at the end discuss with you. This is why it's great to have someone like you probably on a writing team like Jim Jeffries Show, because it does give a very unique, on a number of different realms, woman of color, woman, etc., living in a Western world, with a cultural upbringing that was very different to maybe the American upbringing, standard American upbringing. I base my experience of what I think the world is like on my own personal experience, which is all we can really do. Mm-hmm. But I grew up in such a multicultural area, surrounded by people pretty accepting of each other. We made racist jokes about each other all the time, but there was plenty of fucking jokes about white kids, as there were. Like, that was kind of how we became not racist, by laughing about our differences. And I still think that that's what the world is like. I'm like, nah, for the most part, we're pretty good progressive people, but maybe I'm in the minority.
Yeah, I can't say if the majority of people are racist or not racist. I think we're all.
You haven't done a full survey yet?
Not yet. I'm still waiting.
Well, for fuck's sake, Super, come on.
People take forever to mail back the slip. I mean, whose fault is that?
That's because the postal service sucks dick here. USPS, what are you doing? Come on, sort your life out.
But I think, especially in this country, when it has such a racist foundation, It's kind of in the foundation, embedded in the way we police and the way things are talked about in our media. So it's like all of these subtle things about society that are institutionalized that makes it a problem. So I don't know that even if you aren't overtly or you don't think you're racist, you're constantly exposed to these ideas and these tendencies.
Sure.
Where it's like they did that subconscious test where like, I forget what it was, but it was like people were way more likely to think a black person was holding a gun than a white person, just based off of like your subconscious because of the images you're fed because of this institutionalized.
They look cooler as well when they hold guns, don't they? Them black guys look way cooler holding a gun. If I see a white guy holding a gun, I'm like, he fucks his cousin. When I see a black guy holding a gun, I'm like, Tupac?
But I think
it's like being an Asian guy. Like if you're a Japanese guy and you are super muscular, doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. But if you're like powerful and wiry, I'm like, there you go. That's that guy. Fucking he fucking he kicks.
He kicks.
That guy kicks.
Is that what you say when you say want to impress girls?
There's a guy
Not
like
a kick.
A kick, babe. I don't know if you know, but a kick. No, there's a stacked Asian dude at my gym.
Yeah.
And he's like just huge.
Yeah.
Bodybuilder huge.
I don't like that on anyone though. It's
fine.
fucking weird.
Yeah, but trust me, it looks even funnier. It looks funny when it's a white dude who's just like, and just like balloons all over his body. And it's funny when it's a black guy with balloons all over his body. But when it's an Asian guy with balloons all over his body, you're like, you work 10 times as hard to get that. And it looks hilarious. Hilarious. That's like if you saw a Brit who didn't look a bit faggy, you'd be like, come on. No? Just saying.
But
you're like, I refuse to comment on any of what you've just said. I'm not gonna carry on the joke to establish that it was humor and it's not necessarily exactly how you think. You're just saying some funny things. I'm gonna completely remove myself in this conversation and make you look like a prick, Jeff. Thanks very much. Thanks, Subhah, for not backing me up on that. Appreciate it. Pleasure. I don't know. Is there things that you're not expected to be as a brown woman in this country? What are things that, like being a comic? Surely that's a thing that's not identifiable normally.
Very subtle, where it's like I might be headlining a show, but like sometimes the tech people will just automatically talk to an opener that I brought because he's a white guy.
Wait, is that? And they go, "Oh, is this your accountant?" Or who's this lady? Is she?
They just assume I'm like a girlfriend or something. Like they don't think that I'm in charge right away, and it's not. And again, that's not like, oh, you're a bad person. You're like outwardly trying to discriminate. That's just internalized misogyny because of like the history and the way this country is built.
Oh my God. It's all internalized. That's the problem, isn't it? I don't know. I think I just have a very maybe I have to assess the fact that I have a very specific and subjective view of how progressed the world can be and mostly is, because I think I'm friends with people who are very progressive.
Yeah.
So I think people like that. But
you mean you're in a bubble in LA?
Oh, no, 100%. But I'm aware of that. That's why I opened up my social media, for instance, to lots of right-wing people now. I accept messages from everyone, and I have this follow program that follows people, and there are lots of the people I'm following now, and it follows and unfollows to bring new viewers in. But look, for instance, Compound Media in New York. It's the home of free speech, and it's Anthony Cumia's podcast network. I appeared on his show a lot of times, and for definitely the first appearance, but for maybe 2 appearances, all I got was like a torrent of about 10 to 15 guys online, going, "You fucking fag, libtard, cuck, fag, libby, tard, cuck, fucking cucktard, you cucktard, that's a new one. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, fagtard. You're a fagtard. You're a cuckfatard, a fag cucktard." Fag cucktard.
Honestly, making me hungry.
Yeah, really? Well, really? It does sound like some kind of Moroccan dish. Yes, tonight we will eat cock fagtard. With rice, of course, and dates. Shocking. But then what happened is after 2 appearances, they started to go, it's amazing how being exposed to me as a comic who definitely sits left of center, they go, oh, actually, this guy is able to make jokes that aren't, being fake careful of overt PC nature. Like, I'm not. I'm going to make jokes. If they're funny jokes, they're funny jokes. If they're designed to hurt someone, I won't make those jokes. I'm not trying to hurt people. But also, they've started reaching out now and going, you know what? We really love... Those same people are following me now on Twitter and Instagram, and they send me messages every time I appear now. Been on about 4 or 5 more times. And they go, love Leach being on the show because... It's nice to hear someone who's balanced, projecting a different viewpoint than what we might necessarily agree with. Yeah. In a way that isn't judgmental of what we believe. And I think that's important. I got shit from one comic. A very super woke comic was like, ugh, you go on Anthony Cumia's show. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Do you not know what he's like? I'm like, yo, first of all, no, I don't. I'm from England. But motherfucker, I moved here 3 years ago, and I do stand up. If someone wants to book me on their comedy podcast, I will go on their comedy podcast, and I will try and be funny to garner new fans. That's my job. So don't judge me for that. Secondly, I'm changing the way some of the people who watch that show think about the world by being funny and presenting a different viewpoint without judging them. Right. So yeah, I should go on that. I should go on every right-wing show I can and go, hey, by the way, I'm left-wing, but I'm not going to tell you you're all scumbags. I'm going to listen to you, and if you are saying something outlandish, I'll go, well, maybe here's a different fact that you haven't been presented with that might change your mind on that. Right. And what I'm saying is, when are you going to appear on Alex Jones' InfoWars, and how can we make that happen?
I'm waiting for the lawsuits against him to settle. I think he's a little busy right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, the frogs, though, they're out there still gay, aren't they? Still gay. All right, listen, Subhah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was nice to have you.
Yeah,
I felt like
here.
The entire hour and 12 minutes, you've been borderline terrified.
No.
Seriously.
No, what?
I think anyone who's watching this, the viewers at the end of this, are going to if you've just listened to this podcast or watch it actually, because then you can see the moments on Subhah's face where she's like, internally. That's what I feel like. You're screaming a little inside. And what's not helped it is that after you telling me that you have this PTSD from these horrendous people and like trying to hurt you, and this guy trying to hurt you, and then kids at school scaring you. We've had numerous terrifying sounds. There's some kind of construction going on next door on a big apartment, and we just heard crashing and banging and soaring and police sirens. And I'm so sorry, but you've passed the test, Subhah. The whole thing has been orchestrated.
It was a test.
And you passed. And you're cured now.
Oh, that's great.
You're welcome. That's $150. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor and make sure you support this very talented young woman as she inevitably blows up to be one of the biggest comics, I think, in the country. She's already doing amazing things. Make sure you check out the Jim Jeffries Show on Comedy Central. She is one of the writers on that. Make sure also catch her live. You can check her website, which is
subahcomedy.com.
Subhah, that's spelled S-U-B-A-H?
H-A-H.
Oh, sorry, H-A. What? Sorry, say again?
S-U-B-H-A-H.
Oh, H-A-H. I missed the extra H. I apologize. And I tested myself to see if I can remember that very much. And I lost it over an hour and 10 minutes. I'm sorry. So S-U-B-H-A-H. Comedy.com. And she has all her live dates up there and also tours around colleges as well. And then also check her out on social media.
Twitter, it's at Subhah, S-U-B-H-A-H. And Instagram, there's another A on the end of that. So S-U-B-H-A-H-A.
Why? Because someone already had Subhah on there.
Yeah, somebody already took Subhah.
Fuck, man. You know what? You're about the 4th comic in the last month that has had their Matt O'Brien, same thing. Had someone say, yeah. So, do you know what she's like?
No, I actually don't know. I forgot what it was.
Let me have a look. I'm going to send her a message right now and tell her that she needs to give out that username. I'm going to give someone else PTSD. Hey, I was hanging out with the real Subhah. Well, anyway, make sure you check her out, S-U-B-H-A-H-A, and check her out live at some point in the, I guess, predominantly Los Angeles area. You perform a lot, but you do travel around the country as well, right? Any gigs coming up you want to plug, or any other shows?
No, just look on social media. I've got stuff coming up.
You got a podcast yourself?
No.
Thank God. High five you. The only person in the fucking world who doesn't have a podcast yet. And I think that's a good thing. Too many of them, right? However, ladies and gentlemen, savages, thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you very much for watching it. If you do want to support the podcast, head to patreon.com/Savage Snowflake. Also, make sure you check out our fantastic sponsors. Use that code SAVAGE for 20% off, or it might be Leach. At the moment, it's set to Leach, but I'm trying to get them to change it to Savage. So use either Leach or Savage for the podcast. code on manscaped.com, and you'll get 20% off all their amazing products, including that SkinSafe Technology beautiful Lawnmower 2.0, which has now given me the softest balls I think I've ever felt. No one else is ever going to feel them, but that's okay. I just sit in the mirror and just rub lotion into them. Or also go to Boundless Tech, that's BNDLStech.com, to get some of that amazing vape technology from our friends there. Use code SAVAGE for 10% discount on all of their vape tech, and get yourself high and have a good time. Thanks for coming on, Subhah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Savages. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.